Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Okay. Some people lie in depositions. The good ones do it really well.
In trial, too.
In trial, too, but the bad ones get caught. So we want to do a topic on liars in depositions.
And trial.
And trial.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. All right. I think the way we start this is that talk to us a little bit about knowing you're going into a deposition where you know that the person's already lied. Like in a document or in a report, and you know it's a lie, and you're going to be able to prove it. How do you go about dealing with that?
You tell us.
No, okay.
You tell us.
I mean, the classic one is a police report. If you have a police witness, because they have to file reports as part of their jobs. And what they do is that every police department requires you, when you sign a police report, to say that you're doing it under penalty of perjury. So it's
the first line of defense of you getting in trouble if you lie.
Yeah, that's the first line of defense. They're required to tell the truth. And so the way I approach it is that I don't come out of the gates and go, read that, and there's no like Perry Mason moment. Is laying the foundation about everything that the police officer did that day, how they showed up, little menial facts, and then you put the report in front of them, and you get them to double down now in a deposition under oath that that's the truth, right? But my decision is not to confront them about that in a deposition, because in a deposition, and I've had this happen with police officers, when you confront them about it and say, hey, that's a lie, the attorney can say, I would like to take a break at this time. And you don't get to know what the attorney or the police officer is talking to him about it. And they talk. And he comes back and he says later, and I've had this happen, hey, I want to correct my testimony. I made a mistake. It's an honest one. So the weight of it, the weight of like the lie is completely lost. So you now have him doubling down twice on it. And I think that if it's a significant enough lie, you wait for that and you go to trial, and you need that in front of the jury. You need the jury to see him be confronted with the lie and how he immediately reacts to it. That's the value of dealing with it in that situation. But that's the police situation. What about situations that you're familiar with?
Well, I'm familiar with that situation, but there are and we'll do depositions first.
Okay.
There are so many liars, and there's so many different ways of lying, and it's still the minority. I think that most people tell the truth.
Yes.
But there are liars. Or when you get to the critical fact, people are willing to bend the truth because they want to come across well. There's many reasons for lying, as there are liars, right? Maybe they just don't want to get in trouble. Maybe they don't want to have a money judgment entered against them. Maybe they, didn't tell their spouse that they were doing something.
Is lying a too strong a word?
No.
Like it suggests like some ill motive.
No, it doesn't. A lie is just not telling the truth.
Okay, all right, making sure that's okay.
Intentionally not telling the truth, not like mistakenly.
Okay, so mistaken failure to tell the truth, is that a lie?
No, that's a mistaken failure. That's just being confused and not thinking, not taking your time and not thinking.
All right, keep going.
A lie is more intentional.
Okay.
It's willful.
Okay.
So that's what we're talking about today.
All right.
Are the liars.
Liars.
Pants on fires.
Pants on fires.
So just even identifying, like you said, are they going to lie? Aren't they going to lie? Sometimes you can figure it out ahead of time. And if there's a collision, that's one of the common ones. Like you said, it's in the police report.
Yeah.
So you're looking at what they're saying. You're looking at actually what happened. Nowadays, we have cameras.
Yeah.
That has changed everything.
Yeah.
So sometimes they give those statements before they've seen the camera, and it's completely contradictory. And maybe they'll just change their testimony and say, well, I didn't know, which often happens, right? Because they're not really trying to lie.
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people that are actually lying, like the bad bad lies.
Yeah.
We're talking about bad lies.
You're talking about bad lies too. That's what I was going to say. It's like you're not talking about this person saying, you know, oh, they don't chew gum normally. You're talking about they intentionally did something, and I'm intentionally trying to divert you from what the truth is.
Correct.
So, material lies.
Yes. So my my best example of this case is the McNamara wrongful murder trial in Grant County. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So in that case, as we alleged, that the niece wife,
It's always fun to
killed-
describe that situation.
the niece wife, which wasn't a funny situation because she killed him,
Yes.
according to the jury,
Killed her uncle husband.
killed her uncle husband in Belize. But that wrongful murder trial was full of her lying. Like, I knew in deposition she was going to lie. I knew in trial she was going to lie. And she was represented by John Henry Brown. So that was going to be even more chaotic lying involved. So you go into something like that when you know they're going to lie and you just gird up. I mean, first of all. Second of all, who are you as a lawyer? And what do you want out of that, right? You're looking at two things. One, settle, you know, maybe this will help settle your case, which I'm almost never looking at. Or you're looking at how do I avoid summary judgment because they're going to lie, and then my client's dead, and so they could probably win if they're lying. How can I protect against that, right?
Yeah.
So and then the third thing, of course, is I want to kick their butt in trial.
Yeah.
How am I going to lay the foundation for that? So I'm gonna go back and tell you the story. So deposition's happening. This is pre-COVID. And he is living in a condo downtown, across from the courthouse, kind of down. And the deposition.
He is. Who is?
Her husband. Her non-husband. Her attorney at the time.
Her attorney
John
at the
Henry
time.
Brown,
Yes.
JHB alcohol. And that's where the deposition is held, is in the conference room at the very top. Did you help set that up, Mike?
Oh, yeah, I was there.
The conference room.
No, I remember this situation very clearly.
Tell me how you set it up.
We walk into the room. It's windows on 3 walls of the thing, like floor to ceiling windows.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants us to set up the camera who's going to be filming the witness against the sun, basically shining in. So I'm like, this isn't going to work. And he's like, okay. He's got donuts out and he's acting all gregarious and happy, like, hey, how's it going? So glad to see you. And I'm like, okay, this guy's freak. And this is the first time I've met him. So I didn't really, I had never met him in person, but I had heard about him because, I mean, he had defended the Wah-Mee case. And I remember all of that very clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was all like, isn't this a great location for a deposition? Like, isn't this awesome up here? You know? And I'm like, what? Why does any of that matter, man? Like,
it's weird.
We're just here to get a specific thing, not this whole dog and pony show you got going on.
Yeah.
So he's this Mr. Gregarious, and he's quite tall.
Oh, yeah.
And Mr. Gregarious, we sit down, and his client comes in and sits down. And that's the first time I'm able to look at her. And I look in her eyes, and she looks back at me. And then it was just a full-on war. From that moment on, I just looked in those. She's very beautiful. Dead.
Yeah, but she's got dead eyes. She's shark eyes, man.
And it was full-on war. And so you need to come prepared. Obviously, you read everything, which, you know, there's not a lot to read when it happened in Belize and you left the country
and there's not the greatest investigation that was done down there.
I mean, you know, they did what they could and they wanted her to come back and she wouldn't. And, you know, there's all this stuff. And the allegations, of course, are absolutely, you know, they made a movie out of this.
Oh, yeah,
case.
no, it was crazy.
Yeah. It's called Forbidden Love or something like that.
Mm. Well, that, and there were multiple, you know, like reality crime shows that have reported on it.
Yes, it was quite the phenomenal thing, and so you have to, when you have someone like that, I engage, and that is unusual. I think for some females to understand that a female's going to engage with them like that. She was used to engaging with men and having them do whatever she wanted. Like she's
That was her thing. She liked to control
yes,
everything.
Yes, and including her lawyer.
Yes,
Who was
which she
besotted
was
with
very good at.
Yes, and then here and go bang bang bang, and so they'd give an answer, and you just never let that answer stay. Then you want to know, well, that what color was this, and where was this, and you go to all these little teeny micro details. That's what I do, because we're testing memory, and a liar will mix things up. A liar will have multiple different stories.
Yeah, because they have the truth, and then they have the truth that they've created, and then they have little other lies that they've used to work different angles, and eventually they forget some.
Yeah, like eventually, when this is going to get to trial, and we can talk about later, it'll turn out that she told people so many different stories of what happened. But here, it's like, could you smell anything? No. Could you see anything? No. What were you every single thing about that. And what did you do? Did you go and get help right away? No, I laid down and spooned him.
Yeah.
But you don't see the blood coming out of his head. You don't smell it. It doesn't, you don't feel it all over you. There's
you don't
no
feel
sense.
his body going cold.
Yeah. So I'm looking at smell.
You're looking
taste,
at facts
see,
that a normal
hear.
person might be able to remember when asked, and a person that's lying won't have thought of anything to create for
The
that.
details. They will have this factual chain, but they can't visualize it because they just made it up.
Because it was never real.
Yeah. So I'm looking for that. And that is something that time and time again is a commonality for me when talking to someone who's really making something out. Their explanations don't ring true. You can't feel them. They're not innate. I'm the human focused person, right? Looking at how a jury's going to see that. You don't get it. Like it could sound logical.
Well, and I think people that feel empathetically, they don't feel things from people that lie because it's not real.
There's a whole lot of stuff about, well, you can tell they're lying if they look up to the left and if they do that. And there's probably some truth to that. What I notice when somebody is lying, because I'm a super observant person, it's even when people are telling you the truth, I'm looking at the micro. I'm always looking at those little micro things. And we don't even notice it unless you're really studying it. Like, what's moving? What's clenching? Is there perspiration? Where are the eyes going? What's the speech patterns? What are their legs doing? How are they leaning? Like all this little stuff. And as the day's going on, you're still watching all that and watching all this unfold of, so.
What do you think, Mo?
Well, I mean, kind of what I think is you're kind of talking about the psychology of a liar.
But that's how you question them.
Yeah, and I think that it's effective to be talking to the person about facts and circumstances around the lie rather than the lie itself.
Mm-hmm.
So you're asking them, well, what time was it? Who was there? What were you doing? How did you end up in that situation? The mannerism stuff, I'm a little bit cautious of because, I've represented people who confessed to crimes.
It's all
that did not happen.
Well, they can fake it. That's the thing.
Yeah, and
they
so
can be the opposite.
Yeah, these are people who have confessed to a crime they never committed because the person asking them a question was relying heavily on the psychology of their actions and why isn't this person crying? And anybody would cry if a loved one died. Anybody would show emotion. Why are they keep looking up and down? I think that that stuff is just it's hard to read. But I think it gets a little bit harder it looks like the person you were deposing was clearly a liar because they had killed their husband. They've been found by a jury to have killed their husband.
Well,
Not a jury, no.
not at that time.
No, by jury?
Not that time.
Not at that time.
Not at that time. Okay.
Later.
They had been found later to have killed their husband. And so I guess
By my jury.
by your
civil
jury. By your jury.
Yes.
But before they went in there,
She could not be prosecuted criminally in the United States because she killed him in Belize.
Yeah.
I see. And so
And she wouldn't go back to Belize, so they couldn't prosecute.
And,
her.
and the U.S. had never extradited someone from Belize to this day.
Yeah.
The FBI were all
extradited
over-
somebody to Belize, not
No,
from Belize.
two here from Belize.
No,
Oh, the opposite.
had never, because the Belize
Send
wanted her
somebody back.
Yes.
Okay.
The U.S. has not ever done that.
Okay, so you knew, so you were in like a kind of like a situation where this person, you know, this person's motive to lie, if they're gonna lie, who the hell would confess to having killed somebody, right?
Exactly.
So like that's like a huge motivator, like self-preservation motivator. I am not going to tell you the truth. And how obvious was it in your situation? Like how obvious was that motive, like to self-preserve? Like, was it so apparent? Like, was the evidence so clear?
She went out, set her sights on her uncle,
Yeah.
and within, a matter of months, he had signed over every single thing that he had to her, including the family farm of generations, his Social Security, his bank accounts were doubled. He had bought her a new truck. He had bought her, he'd paid for her. It was really awful.
Then they moved. Then he paid for them to move to Belize.
Okay.
Yes.
And set up a
They were going
bed
to
and breakfast there.
Bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
So, and he had life insurance,
And he had like,
which he signed over to her, and he disinherited his adult children, and so her motive was incredible.
why did she ever testify? Why didn't she plead the fifth? I mean, if there was stuff that happened in the United States that she did before the
Because
United States,
she was represented by a genius named JHB.
I would have.
who
Who said that she was?
knew that she was going to get off.
Well, because what's crazy is,
She can be prosecuted.
well, that's not necessarily true because
Like I
because
said, she was represented by a genius, and that's what
that's not necessarily true because if some of the acts of getting the asset assignment had occurred in the United States,
They all had, I think.
okay, and then the motive to kill, the intent to kill, was developed in the United States, but the act was committed outside the United States.
She had been in. I don't know that you could prove that because she
Okay.
had been in Belize for a while before it happened.
Before it happened. Okay, that's tough. I don't know. Modern day, I think it maybe a little bit different.
FBI watched her probably, and I don't know that they ever officially close it, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I talked to them multiple times. They talked to the clients. I mean, they talked to her.
But what about the harder situations? That to me is just like the self-preservation motive to lie there is so high that like a person who's watching that, they're going to be like, well, obviously she's going to lie. She's not going to admit to anything that gets minutely close to like, yeah, I killed him because of this stuff. So, but what about like the liars? Like, I don't know how many experts you've deposed, thousands, and experts who lie about, their credentials. Have you ever had that situation like where expert says, oh yeah, I went to college so-and-so, but I'm an expert so-and-so. I've had an expert like this. This expert heralded himself, and this was the biggest fire pant lie. I mean, a pants on the fire lie. That he said, I went to all these colleges, and I'm so special, and I'm so great. But he didn't know. The digging I did, I found out he had a felony conviction. Okay, and the reason I found out this is because he was such a self-pontificator. Like, loves to talk about himself. He'd given a speech that they had recorded, and in the speech he says, "Oh, when I was a wee young man, I was convicted of a felony, but they never disclosed it to us." It wasn't a big deal, but when he was on the stand, my co-counsel said, "Hey, you this, but you're a felon." And like literally the whole courtroom went, "What?" And the other side didn't know it, that had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this guy. And like the guy's sitting there and he goes, "Excuse me?" And then it was the most beautiful moment unraveled on the stand. "How dare you that was when I was blah, 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 blah. And I have redeemed. And he's like, yeah, but why didn't you tell us this? Why would you not disclose it? It was the most well executed. There was a good legitimate explanation for it.
Well, here's the issue here legally is that it's not probably even relevant.
No,
but once
it's not relevant.
Once you lie about something, it goes to your credibility.
Yeah.
It becomes fair game. So when you lie about something, it can really hurt you. Just like that guy. Like that wasn't relevant.
No, it was like a burglary.
You could have even played that off as something that you forgot about, except for the fact that he mentioned it in a speech. But my point is, if he had admitted it ahead of time, he would have had a defense for it. Because he didn't.
Yeah.
The defense doesn't work. That makes you look more like a liar at that point.
Yeah.
Because you're going, I didn't do it.
No, and so I just thought, like, at that point, everything he had just talked about was called into question. And so we didn't even ask him any real cross questions. All we went up was like, yeah, you seem like a very accomplished person. You've talked about your experience. You've done so many fantastic things. You're a felon. And then we sat down after this little exchange. And it was like, what do you do with that? Like, because the other side didn't even know about it. They didn't have a prep.
Yeah, they don't have any cross.
To go back and say, hey, let's talk about the nature. And they didn't want to even get into it. So, like, the whole thing just, like, ended with that. And the guy...
So,
I think that's a fun one.
Dorothy Clay Sims made a career out of dismantling experts. She would, you would tell her who the experts were, and then she had a team, and they would go get their education records. Do you know how many experts lie about their educational credentials?
I'm sure. Wow. I'm sure it's extremely common.
It's shocking.
Because it's just become common with everybody.
It's shocking, or she would go and also get their transcripts, and like they would. I mean, the amount of tests that were flunked or their class standing, and they're making millions of dollars a year being experts, but she became quite known for that, and I've sent her several experts. She never found me anything that horrible, but. Yeah.
But that's
everybody lies.
But that's a really good, because like think about it.
When I say everybody, I mean all classes of witnesses.
I would say everyone. Yeah. Everyone lies to some extent.
Everyone lies.
Not like malicious lies, but everybody does white lies, I think, for sure.
Well, we're not talking about white lies, but yes.
No, but we're talking about lies are like context specific. Where you are, why you're lying, and what are the consequences of the lie.
Here's an easy lie, right? This is a common lie. Just did it in a case. You're going through an intersection, and there's a T-bone collision, right? And it's like, who had the, did you go through the green light, the yellow light, or the red light? And let's say the plaintiff doesn't even know. They're like, they have a head injury. So they can't even tell you.
Yeah.
Right? They can't tell you. But that defendant is going to say, oh, I absolutely had the green light, right? And then you're going to get the traffic cam, and it's going to show, well, it was yellow turning to red when they went in there. Now, they will have been prepped before their deposition.
Yeah. About that?
Of how to figure out how to lie appropriately. They told the cop it was green, it's yellow going to red, and they don't want to be found to be a liar for saying it was green, because in their mind that's what they thought.
Officer, or excuse me, plaintiff's lawyer, the light was green. I might have looked away at the last second.
Yeah.
Is that a lie?
No.
It's a lie, but they're not going to be able to catch them very easily in that.
But what are they going to do when I say, well, here's the camera footage?
That's not the way that I remember it. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's see, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good, Mike.
Pretty good,
Mike.
You notice they can't see the facial stuff I did, but
yeah. This is why you're off camera. That's true. Yeah. Well, that's like the trauma of an accident. You start to build a memory, right?
A false memory a lot of the time.
Yeah, but That's a harder one.
That's the game. If you make it seem like a false memory, then the jury thinks it's not a lie. But it's a lie, and they're doing it maliciously, in my opinion.
But I think that the false memory aspect, then you go, okay, it's not a lie, but it's a false memory. But that, again, I think has a domino effect on the other stuff that they're saying is that, oh, this person has the capacity to make errors about what they see and what they hear and what they experience. We got to really scrutinize what they said about what happened. I think that pointing it out is necessary. Framing it to the jury in an argument, I think, is a little bit different. You can't oversell, be like, oh, this person was maliciously lying. I mean, it'd be like, maybe they just...
Well, let's end this by talking about, plaintiffs are not immune from this.
Oh, no.
And so, but this is what we tell plaintiff. This is the clear instruction and consistent. Tell us everything, even things that you don't think are important. If we know, then we can help. Do not lie to us. If you lie to us or anything, game over. Because just like the expert there, even if it's not relevant, if you're inconsistent, let alone a lie, right? Now, there are often inconsistencies because life is life. That's just life. But to have a plaintiff that would actually lie, I would fire them. If I found out that they were lying, I would fire them.
Don't you think also that if they lie to you, you're creating a strategy when you're going into this situation. If they've lied to you, it's screwing up your strategy.
I think it does even worse. Not just strategy, but relationship.
Well, yeah, for sure. That's why you're firing them.
That's why, because we don't trust them, and this is it's a business relationship.
Yeah.
We're investing in that client, and we're not going to do it if they're a liar. So many people that think, oh, there's so many frivolous lawsuits and plaintiffs are liars. Like
sometimes it's because the plaintiff themselves have caused that.
Yeah, but for a firm like ours handling big cases, we are not going to. And there's so many ways you can find out if someone's lying. Because the inconsistencies will become known. You are looking at all this stuff from all these different resources and records and going back from the beginning of their lifetime.
Well, that's the thing. Like people might want to lie about some of that stuff.
Yeah.
You people are embarrassed about things. We've talked about it before, all the sex stuff or drug stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to admit that.
No.
I mean, oh my
I've had people admit that they were having affairs. I've had people admitting, just and the way that we say it, that I say it to them is, what is the thing that you would be the most worried about the defense finding out about you?
Yeah.
You need to tell me that and everything else in between. And they know, our clients know, like all we want to do is help them. But there's some people that, want you because you can help them and maybe they're not going to be frank with you. It's not someone that we can keep. As soon as you find something like that out, even if you're midway through a case, then it's done.
By the way, we could do the next step. The next topic should be about people with complicated pasts and do they have the right to seek justice?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.